So this is my living room currently. In today's video we are going to transform the whole living room, paneling, painting, decorating. Are you ready for this? Hello lovelies and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Alexandra. So today's video, as we are starting, is going to make panels onto my living room. First of all, I'm cutting the woods or the moldings I'm going to use for the work. That is what I'm cutting now. As you can see, I've upgraded from my previous videos that I did these curtains. I did it on one of my seats, which was not comfortable. It was turning around in a circle. So yep, I got myself a little bench which is there. I'm cutting the tin on, and so I got myself another tool, which is one of those power tools that can do so many works, like multitask. So before I cut this, I thought, like, let me try cutting it with a saw before I go in with the machine, because I wasn't sure if it would cut this anyway. And then I changed my mind after cutting this to a point. So when it got to giving my moldings that kind of angle cutting or corner cutting, that is where I use that tool. So I'm going to show you how I use the tool to cut it. Very simple. I knew that it was going to work. Anyway, so what I'm doing now is just using my saw to give my moldings the angle that I need. I need to cut the angle as a 45 degrees. So I'm just using the saw to like mark the angle that I'm going to cut with my power tool before I go ahead. So I'm not cutting deep into it, just giving it that angle, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so that's all I'm doing. This is kind of it looked like a really tough job but then it's quite really interesting. Really, my only problem when I was doing this is being in the cold. Anyway, so this is what I mean by giving it a 45 degrees angle cut, if you see what I mean. That's a little angle there. When I'm going to like sand it down so it will be going to be smooth anyway. So when I cut that and then I join it to the other side, you see that they're going to meet like in a straight kind of like corner. Perfect. Yep. Anyway, so this is the tool I'm going to use, my multi tool, which does so many jobs. Some say oscillation tool. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it well. It's one of the gifts I got for Christmas. I did not. I wanted to do like open this in my toolbox with me, but then I just couldn't have time anyway. So this is how it is. It does so many different things. It has so many different blades, and look at how easy it cut this thing for me. Like, it make the whole work so simple. I was so much doubting when I was first using the saw. I could have used it easily to do all the cuttings instead of like going back and front cutting with a saw, which would have made the work really quick for me. Anyway, so I'm just cutting my angles to make sure they are up to what I need. When you see what I'm cutting, I turn the wood to the other side. Like, I'm cutting both sides of the wood to get the angle I mean. So when I finish cutting, this is how they look. The main work in this molding is all about cutting your things properly, and then the measurement on the wall. I've done my measurement and I've drawn them onto the wall, how I'm going to put my panels. So that is what I'm doing now. And sorry, that is my new sofa that I got. I showed in my previous videos. I'm working in it because it's quite really big and I don't know where to move it to anyway. So, and I needed some height to also stand on. That is why I was like walking up and down in it. And don't worry, it's not dirty because I'm wearing the white socks, like clean socks, if you know what I mean. It's not dirty, and I clean all of this anyway. So to continue with this work, at a point I have to move this sofa forward because I needed that space to do my working. So as I said, to do this work, the main thing that you have to focus on is measurement. It's very important. If you don't do your measurements properly and you just draw lines and start putting your moldings on, you are going to get a very bad result when you finish. So I make sure my measurements are really correct. And to get a very straight line, I'm using one of my husband's old kind of straight edge wood. Anyway, so this is my panels that I'm putting on the wall. I've already put a kind of no-nail glue on it before putting it onto the wall. So I'm going to bring the next ones that are going to come. I'm going to show you how I apply the glue onto it. I think I've done a few of this in my video, so you should know how to apply the glue. Really very simple. You just press the glue onto the back of the wood moldings and then just stick it on the wall up to where you have measured and where you want your panels to stay. If you see what I've drawn on the wall, the little spaces there is the distance that is going to be between each and every of the panels that I make. And I want about 4 panels on my wall because it's quite a big wall. First, I underestimated the wall and I was doing like 3 panels, but then if I should have done 3, it would have been horrible anyway. So this is the glue I'm applying to it. I'm using the glue gun to apply it. If I say glue gun, it's kind of a metal that is designed to put this glue inside and press it like a gun. That is why it's called glue gun. anyway. So now I decided to put all the glues on the woods that I'm going to use so that it will be quicker for me. This whole process of putting the moldings on the wall took me about 15 minutes, even less than that, because the glue is already on it. All I need to do was just stick it onto the wall and hit it to be like, you know, stuck, finish. Make sure it's stuck properly. And when you put this on the wall, you have to make sure from the end to the other side is all stuck properly. If you just leave it on the wall and go, it's not going to stick well, because it's just going to like attach itself to the wall, and that is it. The glue will be standing up, but when you hit it, it's going to be like stuck. You know what I mean? Be flat onto the wall. Yeah, that is what I mean. Be flat onto the wall, and you don't get that space between the panels and then the wall, if you know what I mean, creating that kind of a big space where you have to be filling it in with fillers and all that. Anyway, so this is where I've reached the third one, and then the fourth one is in the corner there. It's quite a very big wall. I actually underestimated it. Anyway, so that is how it's looking now, all like really looking like just simple thing I'm doing. But then the big work is going to be into the painting. The painting makes the whole work come out and looks good, and you have to choose your paint. Which kind of paint do you think is good for your living room? Which kind of paint do you think is going to be good for the project you are going for? So that is what I choose. The paint I'm going to use for my project today is DULUX Egyptian cotton. I've been using this. I use it in my kitchen DIY. I use it in also a few of my DIYs, and I'm going to use that same paint again because it gives me that natural kind of like soft looking. It's not dark, it's not too bright, and it's in between. It's not gray either, and that is one of the best so far I've found. Anyway, so after putting all these moldings on the wall, I have this wood filler. It's like natural. It's like a wood. When it dries, it's like one of the wood on the wall. So any little space that is left there is going to be like filled in. So that's what I'm doing right onto the wall. I'm going to try and bring it closer so that you can see if what I'm trying to do makes sense, or what I'm explaining to you makes sense. So this is how it looks after putting the panels on the wall. That is not all. I'm going to put one long one to come across it, because the bottom of my wall is not that long and the sofa is going to cover the bottom anyway. So I decided not to make extra at the end of the panels, if you know what I mean, at the bottom. I will leave that one for now. In future, if I change my mind, I can put extra at the bottoms, like extra 4 panels at the bottom. But then I just put this one in the center to like just make it all up, and you know what I mean, like just make it all look cute and simple. If I leave those 4 just like that, it will not be like finished. It will not look really good. But then cutting it in with a straight line makes it all look like luxury. Anyway, so I'm going to bring now the thing closer. This is how the filler looks like. It looks like just some clay, but it's not. It's designed in a way that it dries so well and attaches itself to the wood, and it looks as if it's part of the wood. So this is how it looks. Because I cut some of my angles wrongly, maybe I cut them over or I cut them too short, that's why they did not meet well. So if you see all this work, they look really nice, but they have all little kind of like errors that you have to like make up for. So this is how it looks. That is how I've sealed my errors. Now they all matches, and you can't even see them. They disappeared because of this wood filler that I put there. Now it's all dry. I'm using my sandpaper to sand it all down, make it really smooth. Like I mean smooth, like smooth. Because the moldings are already smooth, they are designed very smoothly. So when you sand it down, they will all match and be all smooth together. That's what I'm trying to do now. Everything is like all perfect and nice, in line for me to start my painting the next morning. I did this part in the evening and just went to bed, and I was so tired. Anyway, this is the paint I'm going to use. As I mentioned, Egyptian cotton from DULUX. That is a matte paint. You can also use silk if you want, depending on whatever color you want and whatever texture. So I'm starting my painting now, and before I finish my wood work last night, I put some tapes onto the sides. If you can see, there is a tape in the corner, so that when I'm painting, it will not go onto the other wall. So I've done all of those ones off camera, because I know that is not really needed anyway. So I'm just using my brush and then my roller to just apply my paints. Make sure I do it carefully, because the carpet I am standing on is like not that old. It's a new carpet that we moved in, and it's there. So you have to make sure as you are painting, the paint doesn't go to the other wall and it doesn't spill on the floor where it will like mess up your carpet and it doesn't like mess things around yourself and all that. So yeah, this is me painting all the walls and all that. It took me a while. The whole painting process took me like an hour or so, maybe an hour and 30 minutes, because I paint, first of all I try to paint the moldings. When they are drying, then I go ahead to paint the wall itself, because you know, wood, it takes longer to dry than the real surface anyway. So this is how it is looking now. I'm just painting slowly and surely doing my work. The roller has helped me a lot because the wall is a massive wall, which, as I said, I underestimated it. And so this is me doing my DIY, doing my living room, changing the whole things around and making sure I get my summer and my spring living room makeover ready. Anyway, I love this paint so much. It looks really cute when it dries. It looks really nice. I don't know if my camera has done any favors to this paint really, because it looks really good. Anyway, at this side of it, the paint look as if it's gray, but it's not really gray. It's like a stone. It's the way I'm describing it, I don't know, it's like natural, if you get what I mean. Okay, so I'm just using my brush again to paint the parts that are like patches. I mix the paint with a bit of water, but not too light and not too much thick, because that would be hard to brush around. And so as it's like drying, you can see some of the places that I've applied are becoming like white. That means they are drying. They are not white paint, but as the color is coming out, that is the way it dries off. And I make sure I paint well so that I don't have to go all over again and be painting like second coat and all that, because it's a massive wall, it's a lot of work and tiring. And so I make sure I apply enough paint and to cover all the surfaces properly. Even though I went to do like a bit of second coat, it wasn't fully like second coat. I just went to cover all the places that I have left, like some kind of patches, white and all that I have left, because the original wall, as you can see, is white. So I'm just covering all the parts that are left. So when I get to the tops or edges where there is another wall at the other side, I make sure I do it with brush and gently so that I don't spill. I know you can get rid of this paint if it spills onto the other wall, but sometimes when you paint it over, it doesn't really go. You can still see it through anyway. So that is how it is looking now. It's not dry at all. It's now going to dry. I'm going to give it the time to dry. It's almost dry, not fully dry, but I just really can't wait because I have so many things I have to be doing around. So I know the tops are dry because I did them all first before the rest of them. So I'm taking those ones off and pack all the unnecessary things, because my living room right now is in a mess. I mean, total mess. If I should have shown the other side anyway. So here is our result. I just love how it came out, giving us the kind of neutral vibe, if you know what I mean by neutral vibe, like all summery and so cute. Anyway, don't forget to look out for the part 2, because I have so much decorations that I've done after this and you will love it. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment below, and I'll be back to reply you as always. Thank you so much for supporting me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.